Okay, so we're out here at one of my favorite trailheads, Carson Pass. We're getting kind of a late start on the day because I had to work this morning. And it's just me and Victor on this trip. We're going to be heading out to 4th of July Lake tomorrow. And apparently dogs must be on a leash, but it doesn't say anything about Victory's. Goats never seem to drink. I mean, I've seen it happen, but compared to me, they don't seem to need much water. I think they get it all from the plants that they eat, maybe. Excuse me, bud. I do need water, so I'm gonna go over here to some rocks and purify a handful of liters to take with me, because I'll need it for dinner tonight. So after a brief stop at Frog Lake, we're turning off the PCT and headed out towards Winnemucca, and then Round Top Lake, and then hopefully 4th of July Lake by the time the sun sets. And I was concerned I was getting a late start on the day, but it is gorgeous out here. Just wonderful. Come along, Victor. Come here, bud. What a good boy. All right. Well, I think we found our campsite for tonight. It's nothing much, but we don't need anything improved. We're just gonna lay out the bivy sack. We were hoping to make it to 4th of July Lake today, but Victor was getting a little bit tired. I don't know if he actually notices his saddle, really. He doesn't seem to really notice when I take it off. Like, he doesn't like putting it on, but he doesn't seem to notice when I take it off. So, I've basically got here a Knorr pasta sides beef stroganoff with milk powder and oil added beforehand and then vacuum packed. In here, I got a couple of things that I'm trying. We're doing some scientific inquiry on this one. We've got some dried mushrooms. That's going to be tasty. We have some Harmony House beefish textured vegetable protein. It's supposed to be close to beef. And then I've also got some bits of actual beef jerky in there. So we're going to see whether the actual beef jerky or the beefish textured vegetable protein comes out more like, you know, beef like you would make in beef stroganoff at home. Beefish stroganoff. One mosquito so far tonight. Hey, what a good boy you are. Yeah, you're a good boy. Nope. Don't do that. You get squirted if you do that. Good boy. Nope. Goat discipline. Don't nibble backpacks, bud. Backpacks aren't for nibbling. Here, I'm gonna remove the temptation. You're okay. You can lay back down. It's just the hammock strap. It's not a big deal. You're okay. I think that's kind of what we got in terms of thickness. There we go. We'll just let that sit and cool off a little bit. Let's give her a shot. That is pretty good. With the mushrooms and everything, that's just fantastic. So, let's see here. Let's try a chunk of actual beef. You know, it's got a kind of a smoky flavor because it's jerky, and that's supposed to be smoky apparently. It does not mesh that well with the stroganoff. Let's try a beefish bit. Oh, hey.
Sorry, I didn't mean to walk right past it.
No worries.
Was that you playing the flute?
Yeah, it was. Thank you. Beefish bits are okay. Honestly, the mushrooms are the best. Just heating a little bit of water to wash out the pan with now. Leave no trace. Drink your dishwater. Wow, that is not good. That is. Dishwatery. Has this ever happened to you? Oh no! All of my food stuffs are secured inside of my bear canister / bag / 50 feet up a tree. But I wish to brush my teeth. And my toothpaste is either in here or I've got my toothpaste outside, but I need to put it in there before I can go to bed. Well, here is a solution. Baking soda. Sodium bicarbonate. Odorless, non-toxic. Just sprinkle a little bit on your toothbrush and you can brush your teeth without worrying about attracting critters or any kind of minty scent. Knock it off. Knock it off. No. You're being bad. You're being naughty. Okay, so it's time for breakfast and lunch. And for lunch today I'm having sandwiches, but I did not bring any bread with me. I am baking bread. And you might be thinking, oh, that'll be nice, a nice little quick bread. Nope, it's yeast bread, which means that I have to let it rise. So we're gonna get that started first so that it'll have time to rise. Okay, that looks like a good amount of water to start with. I'm going to use this as my mixing bowl. So I'm going to heat up this water just to proof the yeast here. I assume that's on fire now. Surprisingly difficult to tell. Yeah, there's heat coming off of it. So this is just flour, salt, and yeast. There's nothing else here. If I wanted to make it more calorie dense, I could have added a fair bit of oil to it. While my yeast is proofing, time to make the quiche. So here we have some pie crust. So this takes 8 to a quarter of a cup of water. So I made up these little parchmenty guys to prevent sticking. The strip goes around on the inside, in theory, and that'll really keep everything from sticking. Okay, so there's our pie crust, ready made. Hi. Guess what you don't get? You do not get pie crust. All right, mushrooms reasonably reconstituted. So the mushrooms have steeped and they're nice and reconstituted. We have all this extra mushroom water and I added some salt and it's a very nice tea. Some bacon, pre-cooked. Raw bacon has something like 1/3 the energy density of cooked bacon, so always cook your bacon beforehand. It's also much more shelf stable. So now we need the eggs. So we need 1/2 cup of water. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of basil. So the yeast is proofing on the bread. This is really good. This is getting nice and warm, so we can just leave the dough in here. All right, so we'll let that just rise. So I decided to put a bit of water in the bottom and started out wet baking. The eggs look like they might actually be cooking. Oh yeah. So that's definitely working well. I think the eggs are probably mostly cooked. So yeah, I think if we just honestly kind of let this run out, it might, that might be good enough. All right, all the water's boiled off. So I think that it's probably done. Scooch, scooch. No. Okay. No browning on the bottom. That's disappointing. All right. There we go. Nice solid eggy quiche. Okay. So last weekend, I think it was that recently, I posted a picture of a orange cranberry cake pastry that I made for breakfast for my family. And I had kind of a larger cooking apparatus. I had a bundt cake pan, and a lot of people said, oh, well, that looks good, but you couldn't do it ultralight. So I just wanted to show how light we can do this. This is my entire cook kit: the oven pot, the baking dish, the measuring cup, the stove. 795 grams. The whole stove is in there. The chongia burner, which is brass, the pot stand, the windshield, the spork, the little trivet that goes inside to separate them, the parchment paper, literally everything that I needed to cook this delicious quiche. The ingredients for this, there was no water weight. The only possible water weight was, grams, bare grams in the bacon, because it's not, cooked to full crispiness. But the eggs were powdered, the mushrooms were dry, the pie crust didn't have any water in it. It was just flour, salt, and oil. And so this shows you, I did bring my little spice bottles, and I added some flakes of stuff in there, but those could have been added to the egg powder initially. So I contend that you can make very, very good gourmet food on the trail. Ultralight's in the eye of the beholder. I got 3 pots here. One of them is a dedicated baking dish. I've got a larger titanium pot. Some people would say, oh, well, if you were going ultralight, you would just have a titanium mug. You can always go lighter. You can go stoveless if you want. But this is a lot better than a Cliff Bar, in my opinion. Let's cut it open and see what it looks like on the inside. Cooked all the way through. When I was rehydrating the mushrooms, I got to have a lovely drink of mushroom tea for breakfast. Kind of a pre-breakfast hot beverage. Look at that. Mushroom, egg. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. That pie crust. That is really good. Okay, so my bread dough has been rising nicely in the sun. It's nice and warm. I'm now going to put it into my actual bake dish for its second rise. I've got the bake dish lined with parchment paper, so I don't have to mess around with oil or worry much about sticking. There we go, not bad. Oops. Hey. Nope. Don't be naughty. Now we'll put this in the... Nope. In the big pot, and we'll just sit it out in the sun. Okay, so my little oven has been sitting in the sun for some time. My artisan bread has risen very nicely, and I think we'll get a little bit of oven bounce out of it. Gotta be very careful, because it can fall, sort of like a souffle. So we're gonna put there's our little trivet. And with this guy I'm gonna do something that, there's a lot of debate on whether wet baking or dry baking is better. Wet baking is where you put water in the bottom of your oven pan, and then it sort of steams the bread or the whatever else you're baking in there, pastries, whatever. Dry baking is where you use it just as an oven and you don't bother with that water. I like to do what I call hybrid baking, where I'm putting the water in the bottom, as you can see, and this is probably a little more than we need. Putting the water in the bottom, so that'll steam the bread quite nicely. But then I'll let it boil dry, and then from there on we'll be dry baking it. So, water vapor seems to have a slightly higher volumetric heat capacity than just air. So in my experience, it tends to transfer the heat over a little bit better. Okay, well, I've been cleaning up camp while the bread was baking. Now you notice it's not very golden brown on top, and it just kind of won't be because there's no heat coming from the top like there is on a normal oven. And the big question that I've got is, oh yeah, nice and, oops, gotta go get that. Nice and golden brown underneath. That is gorgeous. Leave no trace. That looks very nice. It's a little bit crusty around the sides. Not golden brown or anything, but it's definitely got some crust to it. And I think what I would probably do is cut off the top, hook out the insides, and make kind of a shooter's sandwich with salami and cheese. Now, I say I would do that. I'm not going to, because it turns out that quiche that I had for breakfast was absurdly filling, and I'm not the least bit hungry. But maybe I'll make a sandwich later today. I think what we'll probably do is just have that guy ride inside the mess kit, and one way or another, I'd say that is a famous success. Okay, so we're all packed up here at Round Top Lake, and we're going to be hiking out down to 4th of July Lake, which should be a ways down the hill. Which means we're going to have to start by hiking uphill tomorrow morning, which kind of sucks, but oh well. Never been down there to 4th of July Lake, so this will be fun. So this is a very interesting little plant. This is a coral root orchid, and I think It's a spotted coral root, although I guess there are little spots on the petals, although I'd say they're more striped than spotted. But this is a very interesting plant because it's parasitic. It lives off of a fungus that grows underneath the ground. Yeah, Sierra orchids. This little guy is a nude buckwheat. I was kind of confused by this one over here because it appeared to be a large cluster of little red blooms, but when they actually start to bloom, like this guy down here, they turn white. Oh, buddy. The ones that Victor is crushing to death are golden asters. Alright, so I'm an idiot, and I left my spork at the previous campsite. So the good news is I have soup for dinner, so I don't actually need a fork or anything. But that means that instead of making dumplings, which was what the plan was, I'm just going to use the bread that I baked earlier, because breakfast was so filling that I didn't need lunch today. So we're going to go with this. We're going to have soup. Chicken soup with tasty bread, and I have an excellent stick here for stirring, and I'll pick up that spork on my way back up the trail tomorrow. This is really good. Okay, so for breakfast we have hot granola, mixed in milk powder and a little bit of coconut oil. And because I forgot my spork yesterday at Round Top Lake, I'm going to mix it soupy so that I can just drink it. So let's see how it is. Very hot, very good, very tasty. So one of the things that I try to do when I'm out camping is just, pack out more than I pack in is the principle. So anything that I see that's man-made, any kind of garbage or anything, I try and pack it out. So for example, found a couple little pieces of wrapper. They go in the trash bag. A pair of glasses that somebody left here at my campsite. That's sad. Or, a freaking pair of women's underwear that I found out in the middle of a field of wildflowers, a long way from any campsite. So, I'm sure that just got there by accident, just popped off. The heck? left it, it was very difficult to spot. It's, you know, blends in with the wood pretty well, but frickin' found it. Nice. These little guys are cool. These are marsh marigolds. They've got little heart-shaped leaves, as you can see there. More or less heart-shaped or arrowhead-shaped. And a fair few white petals. 7 on this guy. Very pretty. Good boy, Victor. Hey, good boy. So we're hiking back today. It's Monday, August somethings. And we started this morning with a 1,000-foot climb. Pretty precipitous. Victor did great. He's trucking along back there. I wish he could do this well when there were other people around. He seems to have problems when it's more than just me. Yeah, nice day.